All right, let's talk about those principles of focus. So for this one, we have a very central message for the health-minded individual. It's kind of clutter, but Primal Kitchen, classic, organic, unsweetened. It talks to that very healthy audience, to influence it just by name and the diction chosen. Again, with this one, it's formulating that central message. Skinny pasta gives you very quick information right there. You can see everything up front. For organizing, this one's a great example of organizing the difference between the plant and the actual lentil. It's also a good example of like the negative space. So when this is filled with pasta, it looks really enticing and creates kind of a balance. This is a negative example of that red-blue combination that we talked about. It's got negative and positive space, but it's not helpful to the colorblind population of the world. For contrast, this one's got a great example of like the different contrast in the color wheel that we can use. It's got created good white space, and it is a very simple and highly recommended delicious little object. Additionally, for contrast, we've got this one. So it's got different hues of the yellow, kind of beigey tone in the background, kind of creating the sunlight image behind the product. I don't think it's a great example of contrast. I do think it's aesthetically very pretty, but I don't think it's a great example of the contrast that you would need, like this one where it's highly different. I have these as bad examples of contrast. So for example, this is tricolored spaghetti. It's got a lot of color in it already. And then we bring it more in on the label, and you can really, it kind of comes one big blob to me. I think it would be a more simple design to do a black and white for this type of pasta, and maybe bring the colored labels in for the regular pasta, just the whole wheat that's not colored. Additionally, for this Nespresso pod, it's all black on the top, so this it isn't usually highlighted by light, so whenever it's not, it doesn't really show up exceptionally well. It's black on black. I think aesthetically it's very pretty, but it doesn't contrast exceptionally well. For the unification principle, we have repetition and rhythm here in these stripes going up and down the product. A great central alignment for the information right here. I do think this is too much to put on any label, but it is a good example of repetition and that asymmetrical balance between the label and this product. It does create a good symmetry overall. For unification, this plant right here frames out the cannellini beans very, very well. It like repeats on the back side. I think it's a beautiful example of unification and creating a frame. This one for Simplify, I have that it's just kind of too busy. It's cluttered design, and it may need to be balanced with the olives down below. But in and of itself, I think the actual packaging part is just very kind of cluttered, and I think is a great example of complementary color wheel though. Simplify, this to me was the simplest label I could find. Like, look, it's just very, Worcestershire sauce, and that's it.